This 911 Strong podcast is brought to you by our partners at the Police Credit Union of California.
As a financial institution founded by law enforcement for law enforcement and their families over 65 years ago, they have the experience and understanding to help you with all your financial needs,
including exclusive products designed specifically for law enforcement professionals. To become a member today, visit thepolicecu.org. That's the police, the letter C, and the letter U.org.
Or call 800-222-1391 and tell them you heard about them from the 911 Strong podcast.
Station to all units.
Prepare to copy.
You're listening to the 911 Strong podcast.
Don't act like I never told you.
With Aram and Kristen, bringing you stimulating discussion.
No, I like the sound of that.
An entertaining conversation.
And now, here's Kristen and Aram.
Welcome back to the 911 Strong podcast. I am Aram Choe, and with me, as always, is America's favorite dispatcher, Kristen. What's up, Kristen?
Hi, I'm tired today. How are you?
Yeah, I know, me too. We did a little bit of
R&R?
Yeah, R&R, maybe too much R&R. Yesterday, Kristen and her husband Danny joined me and my wife Elizabeth for a little R&R over at a really cool winery in wine country down Temecula called Botea Winery. Shout out to those guys. We first discovered them like a year ago, I think, right? We went down.
No, it was during COVID, I think.
COVID? Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
We went
around
down
COVID
for wine tasting or whatever, trying to sip wine through masks. And we came across this new winery, and what's unique about them, it's a beautiful winery. But amongst the field of grapevines was this little oasis. It was a nice pool, and they had these, lounge chairs and a bar and servers. It was like going away to a little resort.
Yeah,
I liked it quite a bit. So we said, we're going to do this one day. And we came up with this idea. So yeah, for all you Southern California listeners out there that are looking for a nice couples date,
yeah,
or just a nice time away with friends, it was really cool. They rent these little, they call them cabines. I guess they're like little, they've got showers.
like changing areas.
Yeah, a changing
your
room.
personal changing area.
Which is nice because if you're like us, you carry guns. It's a nice place to store your bags, your guns, and it locks. They give you a special key that opens the door electronically. And then after you're done frolicking in the pool and soaking up the sun, you can shower and change. They give you water and all the amenities that you find in hotel bathrooms, like lotions and stuff.
Yeah, no, it was really nice. It was really nice. Nice getaway. And it was pretty decently priced and everything too. And we lucked out. It wasn't even busy. So
yeah,
pretty much had the pool to ourselves, which was even better.
There's that weird couple.
We did get some people watching in.
Yeah, a lot of people watching in. There was literally a couple that came, and then this other couple, both females, that came, they're friends, I guess, celebrating.
Well, yeah, I would say friends, and then the other one was a couple.
And they started chatting it up with the husband or the boyfriend, and then next thing, like,
and the girlfriend or whoever she was completely uninterested. She was just on her cell phone, ignoring the other two girls talking to her boyfriend.
And what ends up happening?
Yeah,
3 hours later, they all leave together.
Yeah, well, like, I don't know. I missed the initial invitation, but it sounded like he probably like threw it out there just to like be nice, and then they actually bit and were game for it.
Yeah.
And then I did hear him be like, well, we'd be kind of squished, you'd really have to like
backpedal.
It'd be like a really tiny space. They're like, that's okay, we'll make it work. And the girlfriend just did not seem pleased at all. And oh man, I can only imagine what happened after.
I'm sure there was some sort of arguing that involved afterwards.
There were some strong words after that.
Yeah. I was just trying to be a nice guy, and
Yep. Don't throw out opportunities because people might snag them.
Well, we had a few drinks yesterday, and I immediately had a headache, and but we were out in the sun a little bit. So I think the combination of that, but I napped like
and no caffeine.
Times.
Yeah, Aram kept knocking out on us.
Yeah. So today I'm just gonna have a lot of water, lots and lots of water. You know what I have my water in actually? This guy right here.
Your new mug.
Yeah, I love this thing.
from Pro Force. I love it. It's
Pro
a
Force.
hefty mug. I like it.
It is. If you haven't heard, it's October. October 1.
Yes, it's
Yes.
the best month ever.
Yes, it's your birthday
Halloween
month.
month and birthday month, but
Yeah.
Halloween month.
Well, you guys, if you're listening, what I'm holding is a nice glass stein from Glock. They did a collab with Pro Force. So on one side it has Pro Force Law Enforcement's logo, on the other side it has Glock's Glocktoberfest logo. If you're watching on YouTube, you can see that.
Yeah.
You can't buy this. You can only get it when you purchase a Glock over at Pro Force in Brea. So our
Mhm.
friend Mikey Lucci over there, she's a manager. She said she wanted to send this so we can shout it out and promote it because October, for the entire month of October, if you buy a Glock, and they're all about $400, doesn't matter which Glock you buy, they're all about $400. You can get one of these collector item mugs, and people do them
Mhm.
every year. They wait to buy their
They
guns
hold
every year.
off.
Yeah, so they can get the new version of the Glocktoberfest mug, and this thing is awesome. So check out our friends at Pro Force Law Enforcement in Brea. Their information's all over the internet at Pro Force Online, and it's just a great place. I love that store because it's not like going into like a mass sporting goods shop where you're talking to a guy that knows about fishing rods and maybe knows a little bit about guns. You're going into a place where they hire experts, ex-military, ex-law enforcement. They train them up, and they're a Glock blue ribbon store, which means they're nobody's going to beat their prices on Glock. So if you're in the market for a Glock or any other pistol, they have it all: pistol, rifles, carbines. They have it all there. They have your law enforcement gear, your vests, your gun belts, holsters, ammo. Great deals on ammo.
Everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's exclusive to people like us. You have to ID your way in. They won't let you in without.
But if you're not a first responder, you can always go with the first responder.
Yeah, absolutely.
You just
Yeah,
take
my
a
wife-
friend with you.
Yeah. So
But yeah, I think I'm looking into, well, because I can renew my CCW next summer.
Mhm.
So I think it's the 22. Is that a
Right.
Glock? 22 Glock, I think.
Yep.
So that's the one I like. So I think I'm going to add that to my list.
it's a good one. It's a good one for
Mhm.
carry. I think now, if you've had your CCW for a year now, and I didn't know this, but so maybe some of our listeners doesn't know, but when you apply for your CCW and get your license, you apply it with a specific gun.
You have to, well, at least with the county that I'm in, because every county is a little bit different, but my requirement was I already had to have a firearm in my name, purchased in my
Right.
name. So of course, me not knowing much about guns or anything, I just went with whatever my husband told me to get.
Right.
And so again, with the county I'm at, once you qualify and you do the class and then you shoot with that particular gun, that's what goes on your license. So I can have up to 3, and I only did the 1. And so now I'm stuck with that for
Right.
2 years. My county won't let me update it throughout the 2 years. So I have to just work with just that one gun. So now that I know a little bit more and been shooting a little bit more, now I know, like, okay, I need 3 and these are the 3 I want. So
Right.
a 22 will be one of them.
Good. Yeah, it's good to
Yep.
have options because I don't have one off-duty carry. I have a few depending on what I'm wearing. Like
Mhm.
when it's the colder weather and I'm able to layer a little bit, I carry
Yes.
a higher capacity gun. In the
Yeah.
summer when I'm wearing board shorts or whatever, it limits what I can carry.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. And for women, it's a little bit different with what's made for us to
Right.
carry certain weapons and stuff. So yeah, a smaller gun will be better. Smaller and lighter.
yeah. Well, speaking of rules and laws and stuff like that, Kristen and I were discussing a little bit of a new interesting assembly bill that was introduced by Assemblyman Phil Ting. I think the whole thing started a couple years ago, but it finally passed into law recently, September 29th, actually, it became law. And what it is AB 960. It's titled the Compassionate Release Law. And I didn't see any arguments for opponents or proponents of this law, so I thought we would do that discussion here. It's pretty straightforward. There's articles that are posted that are in support of it, but not a single article that opposes it. And I think it's could be one of those bills that is wolf in sheep's clothing. Excuse me. I'm fighting a little bit of a cold. I should have done a breathing treatment before you on, but
So
give
thank
me coughing. Pardonnez-moi, excuse me. But what this bill essentially says, the abstract says, that we don't have existing laws for our prisoner population that have terminal illness or
Mhm.
permanent disabilities, and they believe that allowing them to finish their sentences in jail or in prison is cruel and inhumane. Um, so what they currently do is they allow inmates that are like terminal to do an application. And last year they had 96 inmates throughout the state prison system apply and to be taken out of prison and put into like a nursing home so they can live out their last days outside of
Mhm.
prison. And of those, I think only a third were reviewed and granted. So they didn't have a system in place for a panel to be put to look at all these cases. So that's what this kind of
Mhm.
creates too, is a panel to review. But so yeah, I mean, if you think about it, our prison population, you're going to have people that have terminal illness, cancer,
Yeah.
dementia, Alzheimer's. Um, so on the surface, it seems fine. Let's put them in nursing care and let them finish their last years there. That's kind of humane. What I didn't like about this bill is they made it seem like it saves the taxpayers dollars.
Yeah.
It doesn't, because we still flip the bill for them to go to these nursing homes. So we're flipping the bill anyway. So that part doesn't really matter. What I'm afraid of is the law, the language is so vague.
Mhm.
What is considered a medical reason for going to these homes?
Yeah, my whole thing is look, they already released all these freaking prisoners because of COVID. They wanted to be compassionate
Right.
because they wanted to keep them segregated, which they are in prison, but segregated outside, and released all of these criminals.
Right.
And that didn't work too well. And so I'm just kind of like, okay, like you said, what's a terminal illness? Like, okay, you have cancer. Is that a cancer that's going to kill you like within a month? Or is it something that's going to kill you like long down the line? I mean, these are the people who are making and okaying these laws that downplayed like rape, saying it's not a violent,
Right.
a violent crime. So I'm just kind of hesitant. Like if they're like constricted to a chair or a bed, then okay, I could see maybe being compassionate. But other than that, like they're in there for life for a reason. So
Yeah.
let it be for life. We're
Right.
paying either way. I don't
Yeah.
know.
I could see, like, if you had, hey, you have 2 weeks to live. Okay, let's move them out of the facility and let them die peacefully out there. But if it's like, hey, you have cancer, you're not going to beat cancer. And but I know people that have lived with cancer, for like 10, 15 years and beat it.
Yeah.
So I mean, I just don't. It's difficult to navigate because we've had such vague language. You mentioned the rape thing, so that put my head towards our sex registrant population.
Yeah.
They've tried and they've already accomplished diminishing the 290 sex registrant requirement.
Mm-hmm.
Now it's if you are if you were a sex registrant last year, but you've been good and you've been going to counseling, you can apply to take that off and take your name off of Megan's list. It's Megan's
Mm-hmm.
law, right? Yeah, that list where you have to be notified.
Megan's Law. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, sex registrants, people that have sexual perversions, you don't just get cured overnight. You go through
Right.
intense therapy and counseling, and you still have to be held accountable.
Mm-hmm.
And so I personally believe, I'm just working in law enforcement for a long time. Once you're uh, you're a sexual predator, you have that predatory nature that doesn't leave you.
Yeah.
So there's a reason why Megan's Law came about.
Mm-hmm.
And those lists are made public for a reason. And these guys are like, well, no, I'm a productive citizen now. I don't want to have my name labeled as a sex registrant. Well, don't do the crime then.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. I mean, there's plenty of like, I mean, and what's productive to them? There's plenty of like serial killers that were productive that had like 9 to 5 jobs and they're still
Yeah.
doing their thing on the side. So I
Yeah.
mean, it's just,
It's
I
just,
think, I don't know.
it's a
I just
scary
don't
trend.
trust our government with
No,
that
I know,
stuff.
especially California. It's a scary trend what's going on right now. They're loosening the laws for people that should be paying the penalty for their crimes that they've made, and
Mm-hmm.
they're making it harder for law enforcement to do their job. We were
Yeah.
talking about sometime last year. You and I did a podcast on SB2.
Mm-hmm.
Fast forward, SB2 already passed, And that's the one where it holds police officers and police departments accountable for use of force and complaints and stuff like that.
Right.
Now you have to go through a review panel. Well, guess what? What was this now? We're in October. We're 10 months in, and they
Mhm.
still haven't established a panel. This
Yeah.
review panel of 12, where it's only one law enforcement officer, and the rest of them, some of the criteria is
Mhm.
one of the
They
panel
were
members has to be
teachers or quote unquote victim of police
a
brutality.
victim or a family member of a victim of police brutality, and then an
Mhm.
advocate against police brutality. So the numbers, it goes against law enforcement. So I feel like what the state's doing is completely backwards right now. They're
Yeah.
handicapping the police and making it easier for criminals to do their crime.
Yeah. And I mean, what about the victims of who was ever victimized by these people
Yeah.
that are getting sentenced out? Like, I know people, we're so comfortable living in the life we live that if you're not in law enforcement, you don't really think about some of these things. But there's like murderers that are out walking our streets and you don't think about it. And just because these people are ill, now you're going to give them like, oh, we'll be compassionate. Well, where was their compassion against these victims? And now
Right.
you're just going to let them out. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know. It's kind of cold hearted, but I don't care. I
Yeah. I know.
really don't care.
If you're 50 years old
Sorry.
and the judge gives you a 99-year sentence, he knows you're going to die. You
Yeah.
can't your last years in prison.
Yeah. It doesn't matter how you're going to die, but you're going
Right.
to be there and die in prison. So
Right.
you have a life sentence, which means your life ends in jail.
Right.
Why be compassionate and let them out? We're paying for the bill either way. This way they're secluded and it is what it is. They made the decision.
Yeah. And
I
I
don't
get
know.
it.
It's
I
just
get
me.
it. I get
Now, obviously, if it was like, I don't know,
tax
a-
evasion or
yeah, something
Yeah.
like, that they didn't cause bodily harm against
Right.
somebody else, then maybe I can be more lenient with that. But
I think it should
otherwise,
exclude violent criminals.
yeah. And again, that would tag on people who were like rapists or, sexual predators or, child abuse, that kind of thing. Like,
Yeah.
no.
Yeah. I feel the impact. I mean, I haven't been victimized of a crime per se. I mean, I'm taking it in the shorts every day with taxes, but I haven't really been a victim of a crime. But I do, with my current assignment, I'm in charge of our detective bureau. I have to answer the phone calls from our victims that wonder why we're not prosecuting, our DA is not prosecuting these cases. I'm like, I don't know, ask the DA. Well, they don't want
Yeah.
to talk. And the thing is,
No.
a DA, district attorneys, they're all immune, right? They can choose to file or decline to file charges, and nobody has to question. They aren't held accountable.
Mhm.
They're immune to that. The police department isn't. So if we fail to present a case to the DA, we can get in trouble for that. So we present everything to the DA. If you report a crime and it's got leads and it has a suspect, we will forward it to the DA for criminal prosecution. I can tell you right now, if it's a property crime or it's a crime against certain crime misdemeanors against the people, like, I don't know, driving on a suspended license, driving with no driver's license, which raises our insurance rates, they'll decline to file in LA County. They won't file charges.
Yeah.
So I had one lady who has been calling the police department just angry as all get out because she had a significant theft of her business. She's a local business lady, and she wanted to know why. And she had good video, and she had good. We had a good suspect, and the DA just declined to file.
Yeah.
So insufficient evidence to secure conviction or something like that. They declined to move the case forward.
Yeah. It's
So,
crazy. They don't file on hardly anything.
Right. So again, it makes it harder for law enforcement and easier for the criminals to do their crime. Not that this is a plug or anything, but I'm on that new show, I Crime, with Elizabeth Vargas, and I talk on certain videos that get presented, and a lot of the videos that we see are the smash and grabs. People that go into jewelry stores.
Yeah.
Sad. I mean, it's a robbery. That's a 211. That's a robbery. And the element for a robbery, what separates a robbery from like a theft, is that it was used. You took something using force or fear. Whereas a theft, you just kind of snuck in the lanes, or something like that. You stole something. So a robbery, they scared someone, they forced someone, they intimidated someone in order to take something. To me, that's a violent crime. That's just not a property crime. But again, I mean, our laws make it so easily.
Yeah. And
Easy
they
for
know
them.
it. I mean, we've had one business that it appears to be the same group, at least description wise,
Yeah.
that keep going into I think it's a CVS repeatedly. And there's at least 2 of them, and they always go in and grab their stuff and go on out. And it's the same ones, and they're
It's
using the same car, and
it's
nothing's going to happen.
hilarious. So I had to go into that CVS to pick up some personal items. And I had to get some razors, and the razors were locked up behind.
Yeah.
You had to call someone to open
Yeah.
up. I'm like, people steal these things?
Yeah.
What is wrong
Razors
with-
are expensive.
Yeah, what is wrong with people?
Yeah, I know. I mean, yeah, that group, I think it was always like alcohol and makeup that they would always take.
Yeah.
But yeah, all the time, pretty much like almost every weekend they go in, and it sucks because the callers are so pissed. I think not at us, but just frustrated.
Yeah.
That they call every week, and like sometimes we get there just as they're leaving or whatnot, or we can't find them. But I mean, it's just ridiculous. And some of these stores don't even want prosecution. They just want their property back.
It's not worth
But
it for them. And who gets
no.
past? They just take it, absorb the loss. They consider it loss,
Mhm.
and the people
Yeah.
that the consumers are the ones that pay. That price gets absorbed into the cost of the goods.
Right. And everything starts going up.
Yeah.
But yeah, and all these criminals know that even if they do get caught, they're going to get released right away, and the DA is not going to file on them. So why
Yeah.
not? The risk, there isn't a big risk anymore.
Yeah.
There's no big punishment. It's like you see your toddler like throw something around the room, and instead of like, giving them a timeout or whatever, you hand them another object to throw.
Yeah. You know what?
They're not going to stop.
Why do you think these laws? I mean, we're chatting about them at the surface, and you don't have to be an intelligent. You just have to be a reasonably intelligent person to realize that these laws that are being passed are wrong.
Yeah.
And why do you think that is? Well, one theory I came up with was because as long as these lawmakers want to remain in office, a politician's number one priority is to be reelected. It's not the people.
Yeah.
So they're going to make these laws attractive to the people that want to commit crimes, and they're going to go out to the polls and they're going to vote for their guys because it's easier.
But do you really think that like these petty theft people and these like sex registrants are really going out and voting for them?
Well,
Like, you think some of these people are
Maybe-
really voting for them? I
maybe-
don't know. I can't wrap my mind around people being like, yes, this sounds like an absolutely good idea. Let's
Yeah.
release all these people from prison
Right. When you
and
put it
let's
that
make
way,
my costs go up.
yeah,
I know they want to get reelected. And so they like,
but they're
I
pandering.
think they're pandering to whatever groups are supporting the law that will give them the most money.
Right. We have. I think we talked about it yesterday. My wife Liz has a friend who voted for Biden, and she was ranting online about gas prices. She wants to leave the state, and she made a comment like, "Well, it's because of Biden." And she goes, "Yeah, I should have never voted for that guy." I mean, why didn't you make an intelligent decision before that?
Because people were not voting with common sense. They were voting with their emotions.
Yeah, they were
And I
angry
get
at
it. Yeah. And I get it. You like, I mean, not trying to make this a political episode, but Trump is not the best speaker or anything like that. Like,
Right.
but as far as prices goes and businesses goes and rates goes, like we were in such a good time for all of that.
Right.
We really were. And now, I mean, prices are freaking out of control. They were bragging about how gas prices went down, but now they jumped up another, 16 or 20 cents in a day.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like insane. It's an insane amount of money. And, it's the middle class and the lower class people that are really paying for all of this.
Yeah. It's hard. I mean, I've heard this countless times where people, because of the lack of workers, everybody's
Mhm.
forced to work more hours. When you work more hours, you make more money, right? I've
Mhm.
heard a lot of people say, I've made the most money I've ever made this year, but I haven't felt it. It hasn't
Well,
made a
no,
dent.
because we're paying more than we have,
A
like,
bag of, I'm like, I was at Costco. Usually you go to Costco to buy bulk
Yeah.
items for less, but it's not the case anymore. I mean, you can still get a hot dog and soda for $1.50 though. But we bought a bag of chips, right? And the bag of chips used to cost $3.99 for the large king size bag. They
yeah.
were $8.
Yeah.
And they doubled in price. I
Yeah.
mean, if that
I
doesn't
think,
show you inflation,
yeah, it's crazy the amount that we're paying for things. I mean, and I just don't know how a lot of people are making it. Like we're very grateful that we have a 2-person income,
yeah,
but a lot of it's going towards gas because
yeah,
we both have,
both have to
bigger
commute.
cars
Yeah,
that suck the life out of or suck the gas out of them. And
right.
I mean, it freaking hurts going to the to the gas
Oh,
station
I know.
and the Costco lines now it for gas, even Sam's, it doesn't matter what time of day you're there. Like you're waiting well over a half an hour just to pull
Yeah.
into the pump. And yeah, so
And
we're all
where?
really feeling it. And I think people are, no matter how they voted before, are getting sick and tired of it because no matter what it is, everything is about comes down to money.
Yeah,
Everything comes down to
if you
money.
can't give your family the basic necessities and then also thrive. I mean, yeah, I know there's some families that struggle. They're month to month or paycheck to paycheck. I get that, and that's a situation that some of them in. But we're finding some families that were living more comfortably now in that situation where the paychecks have to stretch further and further.
Mm-hmm.
Christmas is going to be thin for a lot of families. Families
Mm-hmm.
aren't going to go on vacations,
Mm-hmm.
and they're not going to buy at retail. And all these things stimulate the economy. And that's, I think, the difference between a conservative and liberal mentality is that the conservatives believe that the way to boost the economy is to reduce the costs of goods and services so that it increases consumer spending and consumer
Mm-hmm.
confidence. And that's what
Mm-hmm.
makes, that's what makes the world go around.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. It's gonna be really difficult. And I mean, like you said, you're picking between like groceries or driving somewhere because of the cost of gas. Or like we were talking about yesterday too, instead of eating out because of how expensive it is for us. We work 12-ish hour shifts.
Right.
And so we're eating, at least 2 meals there, if not more. And so that's what, $30 a day
Yeah.
around there. So, it's now like, okay, now we should probably start bringing our meals from home and
Yeah.
making meals at home and bringing it in just to save, a couple bucks here and there.
Yeah.
So,
$30 a day. That's,
yeah.
for me, I work 4 days a week. That's $120 a week. That's $500 a month. That's a car
Mhm.
payment, and
Yeah.
food. So yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, we're really looking hard at bringing the brown bag lunches back to work.
Yeah.
So may have to do that.
Yeah. I don't know. California's doing a lot of
Yeah,
interesting things.
I know. For the
And
first,
and remember, people, this guy wants to run for president, whether he's said it out loud or not, but he's gonna try, and what he's doing to California, he'll try to do across the country.
yeah, I don't get it. I mean,
And we're paying insane rates for everything.
yeah,
And people are fleeing our state, or at
yeah.
least business owners.
Well, that goes to show you, like, we look at Assembly Bill 960, we looked at SB2, we looked at a number of bills last year that were controversial that had. That's the thing. The law makes it so that you can title your bills completely different. Like one of them was the Safe Schools Act. It had nothing to do with safety of schools. It just had a little snippet in there that says maybe some of the money that they create from this new law can go to the schools, but it doesn't. It was masked to be more of a lenient penalty reduction for criminals. So be careful.
You have to actually read the laws, the
And
bills.
and if you're like me, where you don't have time to read every law, I go to trusted sources like PORAC, the Police Officers Research Center, or whatever they're called. I forget the acronym is.
Mhm.
But they are the like governing body of all the unions in California, police unions in California, and they're major lobbyists. So they have every time an election comes around or a new bill comes around, they put a list of whether or not they support it, and these are the reasons why. And that's more of a synopsis version. So I'll rely on stuff like that, or I'll
Mhm.
do my own research. And that's what not a lot of people do. They don't do enough research. So they're passing these laws, they're voting for these people, identity politics. Sometimes it's like, oh, well, he's a Republican, I'll vote for him, or he's a Democrat, I'll vote for him, or I like his last name, I'll vote for him, or she's a female,
Yeah.
I'll vote for her. We got to stop with this identity politics and vote for people that actually deserve to be in there. Start putting square pegs in square holes, round
Mhm.
pegs in round holes, instead of voting for people who you think look good on camera.
Yeah.
I ran across a TikTok the other day that called Gavin Newsom. It was like calling him what was that? Zaddy, Zaddy. All
Oh,
these young girls think
geez.
he's hot.
He looks like Joker.
Yeah, right.
He looks like the Joker. He's a
Right.
creep, that guy. Yeah, he's the same guy that also told everybody to stay inside during COVID and then went to his lovely little winery and had a big old party indoors.
Well,
So he's just a hypocrite. And sorry,
Not
I live in California. We deal with him and he has absolutely no support for law enforcement whatsoever. He's just not a good person. But
well,
anyways,
in any event, however you feel about politics or a governor, you have a duty. If you're complaining about what your circumstances are now, you need to vote. Don't complain if you didn't vote.
Yeah.
And when
And
you
don't
vote,
take our word for the bills. Just go ahead and read them and make your own, judgment on it. And it's fine. We can agree to disagree. But yeah, if you're going to complain, then you need to do something about it and at least vote and do your research on what you're voting on. Because I know a lot of people, I can't remember what it was. I think it was doing away with the 3 strikes or something. And they didn't realize that's what they were voting for. So make sure you just look at it.
Stupid. These commercials and stuff, they title these things like, oh, we're reducing prison overcrowding. That's what it was.
Yeah.
It's the Prison Overcrowding Reduction Act. And what it was a reduction of 3 strikes. Oh my gosh. And now people wonder why there's more theft and property crimes than ever before.
Yeah.
Do your research.
Just do your research, figure out what works best for you and vote that way. And that way you have some knowledge behind it.
Yeah.
So
anyway, that does it for this episode of the 911 Strong podcast. We hope you enjoyed listening to our banter. And if you did, tell your friends about us because we rely on your word of mouth. We don't do commercials, or we don't have a fancy billboard. We don't advertise on social media. So we rely on
I know we're really bad. So tell people.
Well, I mean, for the lack of advertising that we do, we're still doing pretty good. We're consistently in the top 300 in multiple countries. And that tells us that people are listening. People like what we have to say. And if you do, spread the word. We rely on your support. Anyways, that does it for this episode. And we'll catch you guys later. Bye-bye.
Bye.